Hi folks, Tom Coy with basically part B, as in Baker, of the previous episode we saw, where my guests, now back in the studio, Nathan on my right, KJ on my left, came in, we talked a little bit, dialogued a little bit about deadly force, deadly encounters with law enforcement and other folks. And then they went to Washington Community College, where there is what is called the Milo system. Milo system is basically a 360 virtual reality kind of thing, and they went through some shooting scenarios there, and now they're coming back in the studio, and we're just going to kind of dialogue about it. It'll be good, right? So, having said all that, I don't think there's anything else I need else to say, but so let's cut to the first one here, and Nathan's up to bat, so we'll take a look.
Hello, sir.
Excuse me.
Hey,
I took care of it, though.
put it down. Put the gun down.
I'm ready.
Put the gun down.
Hey,
Ma'am.
you don't do it for me.
Ma'am, relax. Ma'am,
Come on,
relax.
you shoot me.
Relax.
Take care of it.
Put the gun
So
down.
anyway, I know it.
Hands, put the gun down. Put your hands where I can
Come on,
see.
shoot me.
Put your gun down.
Just do it already.
Put the gun down. Hey, stop. All right, remain calm. Stay there for a minute. Hey! Back up. Hands in the air. You stay right there. Hands in the air. Good. Hey! All right. Ma'am, put the bat down. Ma'am. Hey! Step back. Sir, step back. Ma'am, put the bat down. Ma'am, put the bat down. Hey! Thank you. Good. All right. Step back. Yup. On your knees, sir.
Okay, we're back in. All right, so for those of you who weren't able to see, the first one was a little hazy, but basically that's a traffic stop that you effect as an officer, and the female driver gets out and then threatens to commit suicide with a handgun. All right, what were your thoughts on that one? Do you remember?
Yeah. Well, firstly, I was totally shocked. I didn't know it was coming. So as soon as our lady come out with the gun, it's like, do you guys let's end it? It was freaking me out because I was like, how do I handle this? Like, how to take control of the situation? How do I tell her to calm down, remain calm? I think my first mistake, which is why I probably got shot, was I didn't try to bargain. I instead just kind of ordered her around, like, put the gun down, put your hands in the air, instead of being like, you have more to live for and all this stuff. So that was my definite mistake, which is probably why I was, again, shot. But yeah, I don't know. It was really intense, and I was just trying to figure it out, put the pieces together while it was going on. So.
Yeah. So your mind's racing with all the different things and your options and so forth. Makes sense. Okay. All right. And no, we're not going to critique them. It's never any fun, Even as officers, 25 years of training, it's never fun to have somebody come in and say, well, did you think that the person could come down from the skylight and rappel down? And, it's like, give me a break. All right. So let's move on to the second one. That's you get a call of an officer down, and so they're running up to you, and you're walking. Remember that one?
Oh yeah, definitely. Immediately assessed that. I saw the guy on the right run away. So I made to keep track of him. I made sure to look and make sure he was there when he left and see if he was coming back because he looked really suspicious. He had like a vest on. And as soon as I saw the guy saying he didn't do it, I was just like, just put your hands up, just comply, and it's not a problem. As long as, you're not a problem, even if you were or weren't the one who killed him, at least then you were assessed. So once that person was on the ground, I focused again on where the guy ran away, and he came back. And then I fired, missed about 5 or 6 times, and then I eventually got him. It's very hard, short distance, long distance. Yeah.
And you got multiple subjects, right? Two different did you each? I don't know. I wasn't there. Did you each have different scenarios?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I assumed you did, but okay. All right. And let's see. What else did we have, man? This one is also an officer down. I'm not sure which one that was. Do you remember?
It was a domestic disturbance. I was
That's right.
going down. There were people arguing. Guy had the bat. She had a bat, I think.
Right. Okay. And what were your thoughts there? As you came up there, you got a lot of people, right?
Yes. I saw someone was on their phone, but I didn't worry about it because I wasn't doing anything wrong. What they were doing was wrong, so I was trying to stop that. Came in, basically told them all to calm down and step away from each other because the closer you are, the more intense things can get. And eventually, after repetition, which I think really helped, they eventually complied and stood back. But one thing I will say is after reviewing that, we realized that there was alcohol all over the table. So there was a possibility of more, loose behavior. And that was definitely something I should try to pick up on. But
Okay. I got you. All right. And so as you put all these together, right? And if you had to put it in one sentence, I always love doing that. One sentence. It keeps the statements very brief. Some folks tend to go on and on. Your shift ends in an hour. All right. In one sentence, how would you summarize all those experiences, the things you confronted, your options, whatever? One sentence.
everything is dangerously in the moment. You're working off of instant reflex. Everything that you're trying to, obviously there's more than one sense, but that first part is the most important part.
Yep.
Everything is dangerously happening now. You have to react quickly. You have to be able to get everything situated because, again, if you don't, it could cost you your life. It can cost you your livelihood.
Yep.
So it's important to act fast and act reasonably because in some of in the first case where I didn't act reasonably, I ended up being the one that, put down for it.
Oh, you did well. All right. All right, let's go to KJ's, and whenever you're ready.
Management.
Mark, what's going on? This is none of your business. Mark, I know. Mark's in the cops are here. Excuse me, guys. It's just so loud. No, this is all your fault. Are you sitting down? Why don't you tell me what happened here? Are you calm down? Okay.
Yes, please.
Fine.
So let me know what happened here.
All right.
All right.
Whatever. Whatever you want me to do. Okay.
It'll be all right.
Excuse me, guys.
I work nights. I'm just trying to sleep, and they're just going at it for hours on end. Can you please do something?
Excuse me, guys. Let's lower the voice. Why don't you guys just tell us what's going on over here? Why don't you step away? Why don't you step away from him? Excuse me. Ma'am, I'm going to need you to step away from him and let us know what's happening here.
Oh my God, what is wrong with
Please
you?
step away. There's okay places with the It's okay. It's all right. It's all right. Just let us know. It's okay. Just let us know what's going on. It's all right. Everything's all right. Everything's all right. Just let us know what's going on. It's okay. It's okay. We're just responding to.
We're just having an argument.
It's okay. It's okay. Just let us. Just talk to us. Let us.
Get the fuck out of my property! I'm dealing with this! Get out! Get out!
No. Oh. Excuse me, guys. How's it going? How's it going today? What are you guys doing out here? Hey, how's it going? What you guys doing? Yeah?
What's going on? Where's the woman?
Oh, Is that a gun that you have in your? Is that a gun?
It's still underway. It's between me and him. Him and I are having a disagreement.
That's
About
okay.
this.
Why don't you go ahead and get down on the ground?
No, we don't need your. No, I don't want your opinion or input.
No. I wouldn't shoot him, would I? If he's running away. Oh.
Okay, KJ. So the first one, it's kind of comical as I watch these, because like every officer, you've done this a million times. So the maintenance or the manager is keying you into the hotel, I'm sure because of the noise complaints. You get in there. There's 3 subjects. All right. What are your thoughts once you get inside the door?
I was looking to see if anybody had any weapons drawn or anything like that, trying to gauge the intensity of the situation. So I was just trying to be like, hey guys, like let's take a minute and like talk about what's going on. What's going on? Can we just like calm down? So those were my initial thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And it ended well enough with your talking. And by the way, I don't want to underemphasize the ability to talk, to communicate. I mean, somebody once asked my partner and I what we use the most, and I had to think about it for a second. But essentially, it really is your communication skill with people. But you got to be ready to shift if that's not going to work with somebody. Now, the second one, that one kind of, the angry girlfriend, I guess it is, that one, when somebody's that amped up, you can almost expect them to take out whatever their anger is on you.
Mm-hmm.
So that one actually made me like, oh man, this is going to go bad real fast. But anyhow, all right, so your thoughts on that? She's obviously amped up.
Yeah, so I wasn't quite sure like what I could do because it's not like I didn't have like mace or anything, I just had the gun and it's like I'm not gonna shoot her for just yelling a bunch. Mm-hmm. And since she came at me, I was like, I'm not gonna shoot her if she's just coming at me to like hit me. So I was just like, I don't really know what to do. Like,
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Right. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, to both their credit, they only were issued, for the sake of these scenarios, a sidearm, a weapon. So they weren't given a taser or mace or anything. In that particular situation, you would have been very justified in using a taser, obviously, the minute she's rushing you like that, so you'd be able to do that.
Yeah.
All right, and the last one, the guys in the park, they're both chatting.
Yeah, so as soon as the one guy bolted, I wasn't quite sure like what protocol I should I was like, oh well, he's running away, I don't know what I should do about that.
Okay.
Like, am I waiting to like run after him? But then that wasn't the case. He like just ran away and it was fine. But then the guy in front of me had a gun. And then actually when I went to like shoot the first time, or not a gun, he had like a something.
Yeah,
and when he came at me, the first time I tried to shoot it, it didn't work.
Okay.
But then I died.
Okay.
So.
And she's here to prove it. Okay. All right. It was interesting to watch these scenarios first off, because they're relatively realistic. I'm sure there are a lot of people that watch this and go, "Oh my goodness, this is so far-fetched." But I'm just telling you, most officers would say that it really is not that far out there. I mean, they're all very reasonable scenarios that play out. And Nathan, you alluded to it, and so did you, KJ, that when you respond to a situation, and we'll see that in a little bit here from Grand Rapids Police Department, when you respond to a situation, it can come across the radio as being very innocuous, very, hey, check the welfare of somebody, check, he's in this Grand Rapids one that we'll see, it was a truancy thing. So most people, I think, go on the assumption, well, if it's a truancy complaint or if it's just someone loitering, then your reaction should be way down here, and it should just be a talking situation and so forth and so on. And I don't, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think most people understand how quickly it can go from talking to somebody who's very reasonable to escalating where your life is on the line or somebody else's life is on the line. Any thoughts on that before we jump ship on what I just said? I mean, did you I guess, and I'm not putting words in either one of your mouth, but did you come away from these scenarios or after all these scenarios thinking to yourself, frick, I mean, this went bad kind of quickly, you know what I mean? Or not? Yeah.
Well, I mean, the first one I had was definitely that. It was where I was said there was someone just like pulled on the side of the road and I was to investigate. And that went from 0 to 100 really quickly. Whereas I had to instantly respond to someone threatening their entire life, like in front of me, like instantly, like without even, I was thinking, oh, it's just going to be a little casual. I'm going to go down there and talk. It's like, what's the problem?
Right.
But then I go down there and it's instantly like, it's heightened senses. Something's going on and this person's trying to kill themselves.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. KJ, what do you think?
Yeah, it definitely was very stressed out. It was not, yeah. It was very stressful and it's not something I would enjoy going through on a daily basis.
Yeah. So before you guys took the Milo thing, I'm sure you had, and I remember our previous conversation, it was both of you seem to be pretty well grounded in reality as far as officers and deadly force. But now that you've gone through the Milo thing, have any of your attitudes or opinions about the subject changed, one way or the other? Doesn't matter. I'm not looking for a canned answer, but did anything change for you in the way you will read something or see something now with officer-involved shootings? What do you think?
Well, obviously it's a simulation, so I'm not actually experienced what a police officer goes through, but knowing that it's probably a lot more real and a lot more scary than I can possibly anticipate. I think there's no way I could imagine what it's like to be inside of your shoes. So because of that, I think that there is a little bit more empathy towards your job from my perspective, and knowing the possibility of going through what I had to have simulated going through is just, it's tragic, and that's all I have to say.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, I would still say that I had always believed that it's like a hard job with hard decisions. And going through the simulation just made me feel more grounded in that. Because it definitely put me in a situation where I had to do these rapid decision makings and like figure things out, and I was like, I'm not prepared for anything like this, man. But yeah, so I would definitely say I still think it's a difficult decision making job.
Okay, and I appreciate that. Okay, let's cut to, again, this is Grand Rapids Police Department, pulled it up on YouTube, and they're assisting the truant officer, I believe was the original call. And so what you're seeing is body cam from like 2 or 3 different officers, so if you're wondering about the perspectives, that's what's going on there. But we can cut to that.
1978, go ahead. You have a chance to run that plate?
Yeah, it's going to be him.
Stand by.
Man, you ain't got no search warrant. You can't go in the car.
That's TV, not reality. I'm sorry.
You can't go in the car.
Put your hands on top of your head.
For what?
Put your hands on top of your head. Put your hands on top of your head. Get it? Don't be. Good.
Watch your back. Watch your 6.
1978 emergency tracker. We've got some shots from air suspect. Don't move! You okay? You okay? You okay, Lyles? No, he's still got the gun. Right, Lyles, get this way. Lyles, get this way.
I'm good.
That's TV, not reality. I'm sorry. You're under arrest, my friend. Get behind cover. Watch your back. Watch your 6. He's still up. He's still up. That's TV, not reality. I'm sorry.
You can't go in the car if it's locked.
Put your hands on top of your head. Put your hands on top of your head. Put your
Just
hands
do
on
it.
top of your head. Don't be.
Drive it!
Behind cover.
Stay down. Don't move. Raise both of your hands up. Raise both of your hands. Your other hand, can you pull it out? Can you pull out your other hand? You got to show me that you can pull it out. He's rolling back on it. Roll the other way. Roll to your left side and we can come and help you. Otherwise we can't come and help you.
All right, so put everything together that, you know, your scenarios along with this thing, and I'm interested in what you're thinking or what your thoughts are or comments, questions. I just thought it was a good, you know, again, how fast, what essentially you saw was the officer had confirmed, I assume it's a warrant probably for this gentleman's arrest, that they were trying to ascertain if he was the one or not. They confirmed that it was, and so they went up to arrest him based on that. So that's how that all went down. But anyhow, what are your thoughts?
It kind of sounded like someone ended up getting tased, because I heard like someone go, oh, like,
okay.
So
okay.
I don't know if that actually happened.
Okay.
So I'm curious if anyone got someone with the taser.
Okay.
And then was that him at the end on the ground?
I assume. I couldn't even see from this, so I don't.
Yeah.
I assume it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And nor do I know if he was tased or shot. I couldn't tell you. I don't know. But again, I guess I do this ad nauseum, but if there's one point I wanted to drive home, isn't that cops are always right, because we're not, but it's to emphasize how quickly something can go from 0 to 100, and you have to be ready, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, because even being one of the, so the last perspective that we saw was a guy who couldn't see what was going on in the car. And so he had to just like rely on hearing from everybody else, like, oh, gun, okay, bye. Like,
and not that you guys care, but the officer that went to make the arrest did a lot of things right. You know, he called out gun, he let everybody know what was going on, immediately got distance, and overall they handled it very well. So anyhow, what were your thoughts, bud?
I mean, I'm on KG's picture with this. I feel like the taser scenario, I definitely heard the guy yelling. I don't know if that was like getting tased or like being afraid that some shots just went off. I mean, I don't know his perspective, but I know that it was from this side of the other person, and this person was here, so he may not have seen the whole transaction, just heard gunshots.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, definitely a lot was going on that had people like immediately, like the guy went in front of the car immediately and said, hey, put the gun away, and then he went back again after more gunshots were fired, and then they all took cover. It blows me away that like that person would act upon 4 police officers and try to like.
Says something, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Okay, we are, for once, we are long on time. This is very rare. Any questions for me or what have you? Well, just the dialogue. You know, we had that good dialogue last time.
Yeah. So what is the process with training? Like how long do people train with weapons?
I don't know how many hours are in the academy now, because
Yeah.
it's been a few years since I went through. But so obviously you're initially trained, and then almost every department that I've ever heard of, you go through annual refreshing training, and some even more so than that with firearms. So that's why this Milo thing, and it used to be a FAT system, is in play. So I would say you're always training. I mean, I would think even a small department is doing something. You can't afford not to. You know, you can't afford, as the guy once said, hoping and wishing is not good insurance. You know, and especially in this line of work, do any of us ever want to take a life? Absolutely not. But you want to be able to react if and when that time comes, and not be out here somewhere in your thinking, because it's going to be too late. You know, so I think every officer can appreciate that, including myself. There've been, you know, times in my career when I probably should have been dead because I hesitated, or I was up front when I should have been out back, or what have you. But you try to learn from that, and I think just have your mind ready to react if that deadly force situation presents itself. You know what I mean? But every car you walk up on, you know, you're not going to You're not thinking, I'm going to shoot this person, but you're thinking, I don't know where this, that's the thing with traffic stops especially, people, I guess I have a hard time because I've been a cop so long, but when a police officer makes a stop on a vehicle, you have no idea who this person is, where they just came from, where they're going. Timothy McVeigh was stopped for, if I recall, a license plate violation after he just murdered, thousands of people. So there have been plenty of people that have been stopped for very, innocuous reasons, and they find out later on that, it was anything but that. So you don't know. It's kind of like every traffic stop, every situation is like a surprise package, and nobody's following a script. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So anyhow, what else? Thoughts, comments, questions? Yeah.
Just one thing. So obviously everything that we went through was very intense situations. So just out of your personal, like how you feel about this, is it like that consistently? Like not every single day, obviously, but like is the feeling like anything could happen when I go and do this?
Anything
like in your head?
Anything can, absolutely. Absolutely. And you have to understand too, obviously, that my reality working in Ann Arbor is much different than somebody working in Detroit or LA or Baltimore. But because human beings are human beings, you enter into a situation never knowing how it's going to go. You don't. I mean, I could bore you for quite a length of time with different scenarios that have played out here in the city with other officers and myself that you think, okay, this is just a fill in the blank kind of thing. And before you know it, it goes from bad to worse, and somebody could have got shot and killed, somebody could have got stabbed, and et cetera, et cetera. So I would think, they say in our line of work, and it's true, that complacency is the one that'll kill you, and it will. If you're going into a situation thinking, this is no big deal, this is a false alarm, for instance, on a building or something, and you go in with that la attitude, that could be the time, somebody's in there for the real reason, and they're looking at, who knows how many felonies. If you think they're just going to throw up their hands and say, well, you got me this time, it doesn't. I mean, that's not the real world. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's true. What else? Any other takeaways? I would love to be a fly on the wall when you talk to your friends at coffee and they go, they make some comment, about, man, did you see that shooting in Baltimore or whatever about that cop? They just usually it's the word executed that person. I would hope you would be able to say something. I'm not asking you to defend us, but give them something to think about. That, I mean, you don't know till you know. You know what I mean? And you certainly can't hold court in the social media. I mean, that goes without saying, but it's done all the time. So I don't know.
I think one thing that everyone has to recognize, especially about any organization, is that every organization has bad apples. Mm-hmm. And in terms of how people talk, it's all about controversy. It's all about, oh, what did this person do? What did that person do? So when it comes down to just doing your job and doing the right thing, that isn't publicized. Yeah. And I think that it's right. Sure. Yeah, I think that if good police work was consistently shown on TV and shown, and there would be a better world for people in social media, for cops. Yeah. But nowadays, it's hard to really get that kind of attention and presence when there's all these like clips from like years ago. Suddenly, I mean, I just saw like 2 or 3 pop up like just this 2 weeks ago about like racist cops and cops that like enacted like with like really intense violence. Mm-hmm. And these are individuals that I think shouldn't belong in the police system, but those are just singular people. Yep. I think the system itself should still stand.
Yep. How we can remove the human factor from police work, I'm not sure. It doesn't, you know what I mean? How do you remove the fallen human being out of? But anyhow, that's another story for another time. Any last thoughts, KJ?
So, do you guys do a lot of training with like dealing with different kinds of people and different races of people? Yeah,
and especially the disabled population, because that's, if you're hearing impaired, for instance. So you go through a lot of training, right? And you're always, I guess we're always training for the changing scenarios in our society for any number of reasons. But at the end of the day, you can only do so much training, and while it's good, it's here that's really your. I mean, that's just my opinion. It's up here and then what you're thinking about during any scenario that you can present. You know what I mean? And some of that comes with experience, and some of it comes with training, but it's really what you're thinking about all the time. So, well, I sincerely want to commend both of you for being here the first time, for going through the Milo thing, being here again, and I mean, it takes guts, man. I mean, to do all that and go through it and kind of put yourself out there. So I commend both of you. I appreciate very much you being on the show, participating, and so forth and so on. And that will do it. Next one will be October, right? So we're going to do something on Halloween. And what did I say I was going to do?
Some fog
Dry ice or
machines.
something.
And
Yeah, the fog. We might do a fog thing, or maybe I'll do it with I don't know, a mask. I don't know. We'll think of something really cool. I've got 3 more left, and then some other guys are taking over. So having said all that, we will conclude this episode. Thank you once again, guys.
Thank you.
We'll be seeing you around town. You know. All right. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you in October.